What's up, traders? Welcome to Failure to Displace, where we're going to take a look at the Silver Bullets hour in the New York AM session today, 27th of June. I'm going to be honest from the start, I took a loss in this session, so I'm going to come back in hindsight now, reanalyze the charts and just see what, if anything, I could have done better. So these are the levels that I have marked out at the moment. Going left to right, we have our ultimate buy side, which would be yesterday's high, which was put in the New York session. We've traded low in the New York PM session to put in the daily low. We have not taken out the low, we've not taken out the high. So at the moment we are inside the previous day's range. Asia is kind of consolidated. Stick sell side in there. London pumped up, put in a high. Took out New York PM session high here. We have taken the PM session high and then closed back in the range. The London session then proceeded to trade down to take out the Asia low, pulled back in the range at the open of my New York session, pumped up, and then prior to the Silver Bullet hour taking place, we swept the high from London, again closed back in the range. So we currently haven't displaced above the London high, so I am going into this with a bearish bias, expecting price to pull lower to take out some sell side liquidity before being able to maintain any kind of bullish momentum. So let's jump into the 1 minute chart now. I'll explain where I took my trade and see if there's anything that we could do better. So coming into the session, I did initially plan to take this entry here prior to the Silver Bullet session happening. I wish I had, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to grab a live trade for you guys for the Silver Bullet. So I didn't take this entry. So you can see what we'd done is we'd swept the high, pulled down, break of structure, which this was our swing low. So this is the perfect ICT 2022 mentorship model. If I can find my templates. Break of structure, displaced through the break of the structure, leaving a fair value gap here. Come into the fair value gap and tap the order block, which would have been the nice entry to pull away. Didn't take that because I wanted to catch a live trade in the Silver Bullet hour. So there was my first mistake of the day. When the opportunity arises, I should have just taken advantage of it. Moving on to the session now. We can see price initially pumps up into the Silver Bullet hour. Now, because I'm bearish, I'm looking for a fair value gap trade to potentially come and take out these lows. Price comes, it did leave a volume imbalance here, but I'm specifically looking for a fair value gap, not a volume imbalance. We chopped around, bullish fair value gap, not looking to take any bullish entries because we have broken structure to the downside and I have a bearish bias at the moment. No bearish fair value gaps yet. Still no bearish fair value gaps. So price is drawing lower. That's the first fair value gap we saw, which was where I took my entry. So I took a short here with a 5 pip stop loss, 5 pip take profit. Caught this loss live, so I did record the loss. I'm not going to bother playing it here because it literally price just comes back and takes us out, as you'll see. So what I'm looking for here is problems with this entry. So the first thing I can see, we have swept some liquidity. So there is some sell side. There's a swing low here. On the 5, let's put in a swing. Obviously we do have this fair value gap here. Still thinking that there's the sell side of the session should be taken out. So on the 5 minute we can see we've got a bullish fair value gap here and a bullish fair value gap here. We're looking like on the 15. Retracing higher. So let's get back onto the 1. So really what's standing out at the moment is this I'm taking a short trade below equilibrium after just sweeping this sell side, and it's a retracement to the 618. So we've retraced into optimal trade entry. We've swept this sell side and closed back inside the range. We've left the fair value gap, and I'm taking a short under there. So I guess potentially it's risky looking at taking shorts there. What I could have done is wait to see how price reacts to the fair value gap before jumping in. So price didn't initially tag us in. Came back tagged, had no respect of the fair value gap whatsoever. So that was the first warning sign. Now my mentality at this point wasn't particularly on point because I knew I had to leave to go and collect my kids from school. So I was kind of rushing to get into a trade knowing that I literally had to walk out of the door within the next 5 minutes. Still no respect of any fair value gap. We've left a big bullish fair value gap. Another bullish fair value gap. So there's opportunities here. It's showing me that it's not pulling back again. So I could have closed out with a smaller loss rather than taking the full loss. At this point, we respected that fair value gap and I got stopped out. What I can see as a possibility for a bullish scenario here, so we've lost this entry. That's one loss for the session. What I can see here is we have left a balanced price range here. So price has pulled away. We've had this bearish fair value gap that I took my entry on. Price immediately closed through it, leaving a bullish fair value gap. So if that isn't a massive warning sign that something's not right, I don't know what is. So I should have realized that straight away and basically just cut my losses, I think. So is there an option to go long here, having swept this? Let's see how price plays out. Normally, having a sweep of liquidity, although it's only small, it's not a session one that's been swept. And leaving a balanced price range, we could enter there. Do we come back to tap? We've taken the session high. This is obviously out now because we're pulling away, so there's no way I would take that on a pullback. And we're out of the silver bullet hour. So the only entry was there for me. So I don't think I did too much wrong in that. It's just obviously the bias wasn't correct in what I was looking for. On the 15, if I could have given myself a bullish bias, and maybe would have been looking for longs in this 15-minute fair value gap. But I don't think any mistakes really were made, if I'm honest with you guys. I think that that was just one of those times where the analysis didn't play out as expected. I think it's unusual that price didn't come down to test these lows. We did fail to displace lower. The only thing I potentially could have been more aware of is the fact that I was taking a short position into that 15-minute fair value gap, and I was below equilibrium of the range. So that maybe makes it much more risky than normal. There were some red flags, obviously. Potentially could have waited to see if there was a reaction at the fair value gap, given that this was a risky trade. But overall, I don't think I'm too disappointed with myself. The main mistake, I guess, was not taking the actual entry at the start. If I'd have taken the entry where I should have done, which would have actually been at the breaker block, I would have taken that one. Then you can see we'd have got our 5 handles quite easily, and also, what do we get, 10? Ooh, not quite. Not quite got the 2 to 1, but I'd have definitely bagged the 5 handles. That was the big mistake, really. Should have taken advantage of the trade beforehand, instead of just trying to catch the silver bullet. It's one thing that we need to consider. is not just to get absolutely fixated just on trying to produce a silver bullet setup. Just because ICT says it happens every single day, other setups, better setups may happen before or after the silver bullet occurs. So that's my main takeaway from today. So I hope that was useful for you guys. A bit of disappointment to take a loss after having such good consistency for the past week or so. It is what it is. We'll learn from this, take it on to tomorrow, and carry on trying to build back these good trading habits. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the content or found it useful. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. It's always great to get some feedback. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.